Hello, good morning, and welcome to another session. As in this video, I'm going to be taking you through my thought process on what we are going to be looking out for on the GBPUSD chart in the coming week. And considering the fact that this is a follow-up detail to my previous analysis, I would like us to go through the key moments that we had during the course of last week's student session so that we can have an idea of where we are coming from as we get prepared for the new week. So talking about last week, I shared this commentary at the beginning of the week where we had a situation here where price action was caught within the 1.25700 area and the 1.25420. And in fact, the week started on a bearish note actually, and we were tending towards a breakdown of that 1.25420. And this was exactly what happened. With a sell stop order below that structure, we had our first sell position for the week triggered. Then we continue to ride the move all the way to the downside with the hopes that price action will do a breakdown of our key level at the 1.250 area, and as you can see here, we saw the breakdown of that structure, which actually didn't last long. And as you all know, I mentioned here that we should move our stop loss to secure the sell position. Though we had price action continue again, breaking down the 1.24840, giving us more sell positions. But on the second, I think that was later in the evening of the New York session that day, I shared here, I said all sell positions must be secured now as buying opportunities could come in anytime soon. And with that situation here, I mentioned here that a breakout of the 1.24840 will trigger the buy position. And just right at the beginning of Wednesday's morning, we had the buy position triggered, and we also had another position to be opened at the breakout of the 1.25. So we continue to ride the move all the way to the upside. We added more positions at puts. At breaks out of structures, we had a trend line to guide our bullish momentum. And I think we had some little choppy situations where we had some sell positions which we were taken out of until this moment here. And I think 3 minutes into the Federal Reserve's announcement on Wednesday, we had this old flat channel where price action started the week, price came into that structure, and it was at this point we realized that we are within a very key level where anything could actually happen. So with the stop order placed at the resistance line at the 1.257 and the support line at the 1.25420, we saw price action did some choppy situations before we saw the buy position triggered at the 1.257. This move did not last long, as you can see here. I ensured that we moved our stop loss, secure the current sell position, the buy positions rather. And as you can see, this was how we were part of this move. We had a buy position here, and we moved our stop loss, secure the position, and prior to the NFP on Friday, we anticipated the breakdown of the trend line here, where I said that we are going to be selling. I think I explained this in detail during our live session, YouTube live session. So the breakdown of the 1.259 then welcomed the sell position. They didn't last long before we had. So it was quite of a selling opportunity at the beginning of the week on the GBPUSD. Then it transitioned into bullish momentum. Done later in the week, we had this old choppy situation come in before the breakout of the 1.236 happened to close the week on a bullish note. If you do want to look at this for your own self, I will be dropping the link to this commentary in the description box of this current video. And if you are watching this from my YouTube channel, you will be seeing the link at the top right hand side of your screen. So with that being said, let's dive right into the business for today. And our center of focus is going to be around this area. We have been monitoring price action within the 1.237 and the 1.255 areas in the last 1 month, I think. But before we go into the details here, I would like to share with you an holistic perspective of what has really been going on in this market, at least in the last 1 year. Now, if you look at this whole structure, if I zoom out, things might look a little bit tiny at this point. I just wanted you to see what has really been going on in this market. So if we go to as far back as the month of May of 2021, you will see that price action has been on the bearish note actually, as we have these lower highs figured out after connecting the series of lower highs here. We have a bearish trend line to further emphasize the strength of sellers in this market. So I really wanted you to have a visual representation of what it's really happening from a much more holistic point of view. Now, if you zoom into the current structure here, where price action closed the previous week, you will see how price action is back at the trend line that has been guiding this bearish momentum in the last 1.5 years, I think. And at this point, you would realize that we are at a critical point in this market where anything could actually happen. And at this point, price action it's the highest point for this year, which is the 1.26550 level, a very strong psychological area, which also shares a beautiful confluence with that bearish trend line. So at this point in time, it is very important that we remain very patient to wait for the confirmation that will give us a clue of where price action will be going for this week. Now, there are two possible scenarios that could happen from this current structure. The first one, if we are going to be taking into consideration the strength of the sellers in this market in the last 1.5 years, there is a high chance that price action could reject the 1.2650 area, where selling pressure resumes below the structure on our lower time frame right at the beginning of the week to respect that trend line one more time to probably incite a sell-off in this market. So that is one scenario we are going to be taking into consideration when the week begins. Then another possibility that could happen here is if this whole structure around the bearish trend line turns out to be a trend continuation pattern on our lower time frame, then a breakout of the 1.2650 area would have broken out of the trend line to give us a sign that buyers are gradually gaining momentum. Then the retest of structure will further give us more opportunities to add more position to our existing trade. So with this whole perspective we have here on the daily time frame, I would like us to visit the lower time frame to see how we can take advantage of this trading opportunity around this area by identifying critical structures right there to guide our trading activities for the week. But before I go into the 4 hours time frame, which I was able to identify a simple setup that we can use for the week, I would like us to have a quick review of the economic calendar to see what majority in the market are anticipating for this week and what the sentiment in the market is actually saying as regards this market. So in that regard, I will be zooming into the economic calendar, and you all know my center of focus is going to be high impact events, which will be affecting both the pound sterling and the US dollar. So this is the economic calendar here, which I normally use. I use the FX Street economic calendar. And here we are on the first high impact event isn't coming until Wednesday, May 10th. And we have the consumer price index, which excludes the food and energy. And this is an index released by the US Department of Labor Statistics. It is a measure of price movement by the comparison between the retail prices of a representative shopping baskets of goods and services. And generally speaking, a high reading is seen as positive for the US dollar, while a low reading is always seen as negative. Now, the previous data on this one came in at 0.4%, and we have a consensus projection of 0.3%, which is on the lower side and we shall be looking forward to what the actual data is going to be. Then moving on Thursday, May 11, we have a handful of high impact event coming in from the UK economic docket here. And the first one here is the Bank of England minutes. We have the monetary policy report. We have the asset purchase facility. And we also have the interest rate decision, which is another key factor that will be determining the traction in the pound sterling for this week. And as you can see here, we have a consensus projection of a 25 basis point rate hike for this week. So let's see what is really going to be happening at that point. Then we also have the MPC vote rate cut, which is set by the bank's monetary policy committee. So the MPC sets an interest rate it judges will enable the inflation target to be met. Then we also have the vote rate hike, the vote rate unchanged. Then we have the monetary policy summary. And to top it all that day, we have the Bank of England's Governor Bailey's speech coming up that day. So he's going to be talking about, his speech will be giving us an inclination into the health situation of the UK economy. Now, on Friday, we have the gross domestic product coming in from the UK docket here. And this is a measure of the total value of all goods and services produced by the UK economy. This is another high impact event which is coming in at 0.1%, the last data that came in here for the last quarter. And then we have a projection of 0.1%. So that means that majority are thinking that there is not really any change in that regard. So we are going to be looking forward to what the data will be saying on that one too. Then from the US docket, we have the publication from the Michigan University, and that is the Consumer Sentiment Index, which is a survey of the personal consumer confidence in the economic activity. So this gives us a picture of whether or not consumers are willing to spend money. And we have the previous data coming in at 63.5, and the consensus projection here is at 63. So these are things that we are going to be looking forward to. So you can see here that we have a handful of high impact event that will be affecting both the pound sterling and the US dollar, and obviously majority in the market will be anticipating this event, which will definitely reflect on the chart as price action. So with that being said, here we are going to be diving right back into our charts. And like I said earlier, I have a setup on the 4 hours time frame which we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for this week. Now, what I did here was to take into consideration what has been happening since the beginning of this month, and it is quite obvious that price action has been bullish. However, if we zoom into the current structure, which I was able to spot after looking at how price action reacted since the beginning of this month. The first structure here, I have two key levels here. So the first structure here is the 1.2570 area, which happens to be a strong resistant line at one point during the later part of last month, before we finally saw the breakout of the structure during the previous week, which happens to be the first week of this month. And with this whole situation here, breakout of a very significant structure is a sign that buyers are very, very strong at this point. And if we take into consideration the engulfing bullish candle here springing out after the breakout retest of that level, the first thing that comes to mind is to look out for buying opportunity. So we are at a critical point in the market right now where price action, the zone within the 1.26550 area and the 1.2570 level will be our center of focus for this week. So we have the resistance level at the 1.2655 and the support line at the 1.2570 area. So you all know what we look out for whenever we have this kind of flat channel. We're expecting price action to either break out of the support line, for buying opportunity, or break out of this resistance line for buying opportunity, or break down the support line here for selling opportunity. So at this point, we shall remain very patient to see how participants in this market will be reacting to the 1.26500 area, which I'm going to be using as my key level for this week. As a breakout, a retest of that structure definitely will be giving us an opportunity to buy. But if so happens that price action drops below the 1.257, then we start looking out for selling opportunities where retest of structure will give us a confirmation that price action will be going to the downside. And depends on how price action reacts to this trend line here, that will now determine if we are going to be adding more sell position to our existing trade, or we are going to be getting ready to join another wave of bullish momentum if buy pressure resumes along that trend line one more time. So these are things I'm going to be looking forward to going into the new week, but be rest assured that I will be with you in the comment section of this video after monitoring how participants in this market will be reacting to the structure during the early hours of the week, to give you an update on what I think could actually happen from that juncture. I hope this video has been of immense help in making your personal decision on the GBPUSD, and if it did, kindly support this project by clicking the like button. You would also want to follow me on my TradingView platform at DarkSherry. The spelling is right at the top right hand side of your screen right here, so that you can be part of the daily commentaries I normally share in the comment section of all of my videos. Thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you right in the comment section on Monday as we get prepared for the new week. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye bye.